so I've still got decent fold equity with those guys. However, they could be the type of player that just lost a big pot or something, which I don't believe they are, and are just kind of suicidal, give up. If that's the case, I probably shouldn't be shoving here, even if this is suited. Because if they're just calling with whatever, 7-5 is not good against whatever. It's good against big cards. Yeah, and the guy that's in the big blind doesn't really have enough chips to call me that wide either. So if this was suited, I'm down with go ahead and just shoving it. But offsuit, it's just pretty risky. And then there's the added fact that the big stack sitting there with 22,000, he could easily just snap me off. I'll go ahead and fold this one. And I picked up A7, and now I got 5 real big blinds. Like I gotta go. I gotta go. If I would have picked up any ace here, like even that ace-4 that I turned down earlier, I would have shoved it here, but just because I'm so much smaller in comparison to the blinds. And luckily we get some aces here. And get in against ace-king, although he was shorter than us, so I don't get a true double up. And this hand just is not good enough from this position to do anything with. If I was super short, I could consider shoving it, but I just got a bunch of chips from my aces, so I don't need to. Okay, so a shove from early position dude. He doesn't really have any chips. I'm expecting a whole lot of different random garbage he could have here. Hands that I'm potentially ahead of. And I'm getting 2.2 to 1 on this. It's going to cost me like 1,370 to win. No, it's going to cost me 1,170. What am I talking about? To win 2570. So that's a pretty decent pull. And I also get the added knockout, so I'm calling here. And I would have called here really wide. Like, there's a good chance I'm going to call with Jack-8 suited, just because I'm getting such good odds, and there's a good chance he's shoving so wide. Coming up on the blinds and stuff, he probably wants to get it in there as soon as possible. And I river him. Okay, so now the big blind is 900, or the pot size is 950, so the adjusted big blind is right at like 6,300. There's 630. So I've got like 12 adjusted, 12 and a half adjusted, there's abouts. And that means I can go ahead and raise here if I want. I can raise and fold to a shove. Both these players have, in the blinds, the players have stacks that can still just fold and wait. They're not in emergency mode yet, and they're not so big that they're willing to try and bully me. So unless I see something in their stats that says to not raise here, like maybe they're going to 3-bet shove me a little too much, then I should probably go ahead and raise it. Or maybe if the big stack with 19k behind me has a really high VPIP and there's a really good chance he's going to call me in position, then maybe I don't want to raise there as well. But I fold here. That was probably a mistake, because King 9's a pretty good hand to raise with. Okay, so now we got a raise from on the button, a min raise from a small guy into a huge guy. Usually this means aces or kings, something ridiculously big, because he doesn't even care enough to try and protect it. If he had raised a little bigger here, honestly, I would be way more likely to shove. But his raise is just so small and so weird that I'm probably going to get away from this, and maybe we'll go ahead and play this hand out just to see what happens. Oh wow, the big stack folded. That's all kinds of special. But anyways, as far as the hand goes, if he was a slightly bigger stack with more to risk and he's min raising, then maybe I'm still thinking the same thing actually. But if he's a slightly bigger stack and he's raising to like 1200 or 1300, there's a good chance that it opens up his range to weaker hands like the King 9 that I just shoved or was going to raise, or just a whole lot of different things, suited connectors, aces, things like that. Pairs, not pairs of aces, just ace 5, ace 6, and things that might fold to a shove. So I probably would shove this Jack 10 suited into those. But this min raise just feels a little suspicious, so I'll go ahead and get away. Some action in front of me. Okay, so now I'm sitting here in layup position with the pot size at 1200. So adjusted big blind is like 800. So I've got like 8. When you're at like 8 big blinds in late position with a pocket pair or 8 adjusted, it's usually best to just go ahead and shove it, unless your pocket pair is so good that you're okay to call shoves with it, but 2's is not. Like probably 9s and 10s above, it's okay to raise it and not shove if you really think that the players are going to 3-bet wide or something, because then you might catch somebody with Jack 8 suited 3-bet shoving you, things like that. But you don't want to be calling shoves wide against people who are going to have overcards to you. That's a problem, because then you're just letting them coin flip. Whereas if you just shove, they're going to fold those hands, and you just win the pots without contest. So we'll go ahead and just jam this one in the middle here. Boom. And we get ace 6 suited, raise in front of us, so we'll fold. And probably not going to get any hands here for a little bit. Seems to be the case once you get near the money. Although I think we're still 3 tables out here. Yeah, so here, I pick up 2-3 offsuit. It's obviously not a very good hand, but going up against this guy, his stack is kind of small enough so that he can't really easily call my shove. And if you've got less than like 10 or 11 real big blinds once the ante's hit, you should probably be shoving basically any 2 if the opportunity arises, just because of the success rate and just how many chips you're picking up. I mean, there's 1,425 chips out there. That's just a huge pickup for me, so I'm probably going to be shoving this basically any 2 cards. Yeah, it looks like I doubled up from that play, so I'm guessing I bad beat him with whatever he ended up having. Bad. Oh. Okay, so I'm sitting here with over 20 real big blinds. As far as adjusted big blinds goes, the pot size is 1420, or 1425, so it's roughly 1,000. So I've got roughly 14 adjusted. I've got more than enough to try and raise and take the pot down without calling a shove. So I've got a suited connector. That means it's a decent enough hand to do it. So I don't have a problem with going and doing this. If stats say that these people are maybe a little too crazy to do it in 2, then probably don't do it. But that's a decent spot. And same exact thing here. Identical situation. The hand strength is relatively the same, although this is a slightly better hand than 6-9 suited. And here I go ahead and take the spot. And he just shoves into me, so maybe he's outplaying me, maybe he just hit a lucky flop, whatever. I was just trying to steal pre-flop and that didn't work, so no big deal. Under the gun, not good enough hand. It has to be pretty good from under the gun. Nope. Raise from under the gun, go ahead and fold. Not a very good hand, just go ahead and get out of here. Okay, so now we get a raise from under the gun +1. He's going to like 6 real big blinds. That means he could be shoving really wide here. And Fish Club is a known regular. He's not one of the better regulars, but certainly somebody that is going to be shoving wide here. Like, he understands that portion of the game.